Hello, everybody. So, in fact, I have two jobs at Microsoft. I'm in charge of disability and accessibility, and I'm also working in the services division to help our customer moving to Windows 10, Office 365, etc., etc. So the presentation I'm going to do today first is focused on Microsoft accessibility strategy, just for you to have an overview of what we are doing at Microsoft. What we are doing also in open source with accessibility, and a short conclusion with a question and answer if you need. So first on the strategy. So when Satya Nadella arrived at the head of Microsoft, in fact, he has two different focus that concern that meeting. One on open source, in fact, just to be able internally first to be able to share all the code for everybody. Previously at Microsoft, there was some program group with very reduced and limited access to the code. For example, a person in charge of Windows 10 doesn't share doesn't share the information with the Office team, etc., etc. So it breaks the barrier just first to be able internally to have that openness internally. Second, in fact, Satya Nadella defined 5 different waves at Microsoft, and one concerned accessibility, in fact, as he has 2 children concerned by disability, so he is very focused on those subjects. And the 3 main topics he speak about regarding accessibility is first, the transparency on all what we are delivering to our customers, to everybody, because it's important for us as we are working with a very large ecosystem to be able to share that. Second, he focused on universal design, universal design for us is the possibility to start thinking about the usage very earlier and break the barrier at the beginning, meaning that you are thinking of application and so on for everybody and not just for a small group of people. So that's quite important. And the third one is how we can be more inclusive inside Microsoft. So he has, for example, last year we had a plan to focus on hiring a person having disability with Asperger, for example, last year. A large number of people have been hired by Microsoft just because they are contributing to all what we are delivering. If you want really to be performant for your customer, you need at least to seem like the customer. And in fact, when you are speaking with a large different company, you understand that disability is very, very important just for internal needs, but also for the customer of our own customer. So it's important to be focused on that. If we have just, that's just a slide to explain the difficulty regarding disability, because first of all, many of people in charge of accessibility or in charge of developing application are focused on a reduced and a limited part of disability. For example, you are doing things for blind people or things for cognitive problem issues, etc., etc. But you have also some diseases that are not really considered and very difficult to answer, as in fact it's a mix of different kind of disability, like for example Parkinson or ALS or things like that. Why it's important to focus on accessibility? First, life is increasing and the number of years you are working in company is increasing also. So there's much more and much more people concerned by that. You have also a legal constraint to manage, in fact, because in fact the law are enforcing things on accessibility, and with European law it's going stronger and stronger, which is great, as in fact it forces company to work on that and to be more inclusive internally. There's also a huge potential of business on that, as in fact developing things for a larger number of people makes you have more customers, so it's important. Microsoft have also a social responsibility because lots of users are using Windows, Office, etc., etc. So you need to consider everybody when you are delivering such product. One very important aspect for me is, in fact, technology are changing the world. We are seeing lots of new things arriving with for example, all of the different aspects you are seeing for intelligence. Yeah, lots of different things. Sorry. You can also be concerned because lots of people are touched in their life by disability, and also it's very good to help people, in fact. If you are considering accessibility inside our Microsoft product, I'm splitting it in 3 different areas. First, what we are natively delivering inside Windows and Office, because it's the basis for lots and lots of companies. Second, which product can be concerned by accessibility scenario? If you are considering, for example, Cortana or the competition of Cortana, being able to speak with a machine is very important for some disability. You have also Skype, for example, that allow us to do some telework, for example. So it's important for people having a limitation regarding that. And also inside Skype, you are seeing much more features that allow you also to deal with different language, things like that. The third part concerns accessibility content, because you need to deliver content which are accessible. So we are enforcing that, including accessibility checker, for example, inside Office. Or, for example, being able, when you send a mail to somebody that needs to have accessibility mail, just to inform the person who is going to send that mail that you need to treat your mail as a document that need to be accessible. So that's things that have arrived in Office. I'm going to pass quickly on that slide. In fact, that's important for us as a company that delivers Windows and Office to produce more and more native accessibility features, because it's cost saving for our customer to promote that. If you have by default features inside Windows and Office, then you don't need necessarily to include complementary things. And then all your machine could be quite standard, and it's important for the IT of our customers today. You have some product compliance things also that we are providing, just to check the difference between what we are delivering and the standard, because it's important to inform what we are covering inside the 3 different standards. There's lots of things we are saying also to our customer. If you consider that, for example, you have some old application, maybe just considering to enhance the UI allow you to pay for accessibility feature inside those applications. Meaning that, for example, if you optimize the way you are using application and the way you access the feature, because that's the most common feature are quite quickly accessible, then you can win time for all the users, and then use that time to pay for accessibility features. That's the strategy for Microsoft France. It's just saying that disability for us is inside a different kind of subject, like all what we are considering as diversity and inclusion. So disability is one subject in diversity and inclusion list. And the 3 first topics we are covering for disability, change perception, employment enhancement, and simplified day-to-day, it's what you are seeing in all different politics regarding disability in great company. We are also pushing a lot in the way we can impact the society, so working with students, working with medical stuff, etc., helping to use technology to help on that. Microsoft and open source. So we are quite engaged in open source. I'm not a specialist of all what is inside that slide, so that's the history of open source. So we have included and worked with lots of people engaged in open source. We have a first thing to say is we have an approach in the cloud. So we want to adapt our cloud to be able to integrate and to use all what is delivered by the open source community on our cloud. So that's the first topics we are working on. Regarding disability, we have delivered what we are calling inclusive design. Inclusive design, it's in fact a way to think about your application at the beginning. So you need to recognize exclusion first, learn from diversity, the second part, and try to solve for one and extend to many. So that's the three different topics we are covering inside that design toolkit, and we are delivering in a free manner all that patterns that allow you, when you need to think about accessibility, you have some, I would say, activity cards that you can use just to engage some exchange during a session of inclusive design. Sorry. So you can access to that book just with the line. So just do aka.ms inclusive design, and you can access to that book and activity cards also. I am translating that in French also if somebody is interested. Second, so we have a development platform, what we are calling UWP, Universal Windows Platform, that deals with all the different kind of machine. We are delivering some toolkit and things like that just to be able to develop application in a more inclusive way. We are also working on different components, the UWP community toolkit. So it's something we are delivering for you to build applications. So it's some control, some different kind of things that are accessible. So it has been published on GitHub, so you can access to it. And you have also an application that do some demos of all what have been developed around that. So if you want to develop an application with some control that are accessible, you can use that. We have also, that's a sample, we have also a page analyzer, which is a tool that allow you to improve your website accessibility. So it's also published on GitHub. A very important thing is the Microsoft Cognitive Services. So it's a set of cloud services that allow you to easily integrate in your application some things related to vision, speech, language, etc. So it's a set of services. If you want, for example, to integrate in your application voice recognition or things like that, you can easily use that with three line of code. You have integrated that in your application, so you don't have to deal with the complexity of that. It's some cloud services you can use, and we are delivering a toolkit to be able to use that Microsoft services. The link is written there. It's on GitHub also. As a conclusion, in fact, if we are dealing about accessibility and open source as Microsoft, our vision is if you are doing inclusive design, you had cloud and you had open source, then you can have a full set of accessibility things which can deal with all the difficulty and all the complexity of accessibility in your application.